This is a film study video that's going to focus on Sam Darnold's performance, his execution, the reads that, I think I can identify in the Seahawks 27-19 win over the Texans. We're going to get right to the film, and I'll give you some summary thoughts and try to evaluate as much as I possibly can with regards to technique, his execution, and then accuracy and pace on the football. I think we've got 12 throws to go over here. I'll try to spread this out evenly, but of course there's a ton of targets, successful ones in fact, to JSN. This is a 3rd and 8 on the first possession. It's going to be complete to the tight end. I think it's Barner. It's a 5 or 6 man rush by the Texans early. I think they're trying to establish in Darnold's mind and in the offensive coordinator's mind that you're not safe. There's a possibility that this is also just an add-on blitz. The 6th rusher here who could be responsible for the running back in coverage. Simultaneously, the running back is responsible for him in pass pro. But Jalen Petre, if you ask me, really nice read by him. Maybe if there's more time, Darnold could wait for this route by JSN to clear over the inside linebacker, but I think Darnold identified that there was a 5 or 6 man rush, and he had to get rid of the ball quickly. Jalen Petre on the first 3 plays just showed his versatility. This is him coming down here. I think it's Al-Shaair as well involved with the tackle, basically to stop Barner 1 yard short. Darnold's getting rid of the ball quick. I think he has to because of the rush. The scheme that the Texans are using, in this case, it's a 7-yard gain that leads to a punt. So it's mission accomplished for the Texans defense. Second possession, I think we've got a designed play here. It's going to be down to the bottom side of our screen. It's out of 13 personnel. So the Texans have responded to this 13 personnel group by creating basically like a 4-5 in the box, rolling up a strong safety, and then also the corner, Derek Stingley. He's the guy that gets beat on this play just because of the route concept. I guess he's stepping up looking for run. It's Arroyo up the right seam, basically the tops of the numbers, and then Barner is splitting the top of the numbers in the hash. My apologies. Arroyo's actually going to the bottom of the numbers, so you've got this horizontal spread or spacing between those two guys, but you can see Stingley has kind of lost balance. He's, I think, expecting run or perhaps not respecting Arroyo's ability to get down the field. Pretty clean win against their best corner. Stingley's one of the best corners in the league, in fact, but this game obviously did not reflect as well as far as his talent level and what you normally get from him. Same play from the end zone angle, 13 personnel. I thought Kubiak used some interesting personnel groups. He uses 13 in pretty much every game. It's a play action to this side, to the boundary where Stingley is located. You can kind of see Stingley off the left side. But there's the play action fake from Darnold. It's not a boot. It's just a straight kickback off of it. And I love the pass pro that the Seahawks are using here off this right side, the right side of our screen, the left side. It's against Danielle Hunter. So initially you've got the 3rd tight end trying to gather him for a moment. And then the awareness of the center, Sundell. I think that he just knows the scheme here, that it's 13 personnel and the edge defender to his left, our right on the screen, is going to be handled by the tight end initially. And then if he's got no work, he can move out to that side. Nice awareness, if you ask me. Designed play to get Arroyo the football down the sideline, like I said, a 27-yard gain. Another design play here, this one off of the 3rd possession. I feel like I'm starting to be able to tell when Sam Darnold is going to do a quick snap. Just something about body language, demeanor, the way he walks up to the line. But this is a design play out of 11 personnel. So there's the only tight end. I call it ace because Cooper Kupp is essentially in the same positioning as that tight end on the other side, but he's slightly wider and obviously not in the same stance. So it's kind of a climb concept, whatever people want to call it. He's hiding, but vertically on past the line of scrimmage. In addition, you've got this occupy route by Horton on the bottom side that I think is designed to occupy the outside corner, Stingley, and or the boundary side safety. Don't need to occupy the boundary side safety, in fact, because he drops down to kind of create an 8-man front, play action fake, and for a moment, Petre hesitated with the run fake, and that put him behind Cooper Kupp. We're talking about as this play fake occurs here, Petre's reaction, or delayed reaction, if you will, to Kupp's release. It almost looks like Kupp is releasing across the line of scrimmage to go block. You can see the separation that's been created by it, number 1. Number 2, all of this area of the field open because of this route by Horton that occupied Derek Stingley. 32-yard gain to Kupp, who hasn't had the consistency in terms of statistical impact, But on plays like this one, he's been able to get himself open, and I think he's reliable. You know where he's going to go, number one. Number two, because of his blocking path often, it puts defensive players like Jalen Petre in this case in a severe amount of conflict. So you got the run action, and Petre's got his eyes through Kupp into the backfield, and that run action, I think, is what really holds him long enough for Kupp to sneak past. You can see the separation that's already been created from Kupp to Petre, and Darnold knows where he's going with the football. All Darnold had to do was confirm the occupy route by Horton, had held Derek Stingley long enough that he would have the opportunity to get Kupp the ball. I do think it's notable that two of the early design plays attacked up the right side where Derek Stingley typically lines up. 3rd and 11 on the third possession. This is, of course, a controversial tackle by Al-Shaair. I'm not sure which Al-Shaair is supposed to do, to be honest with you, but there's a lot to be said here. It's 0-2 personnel. And Kubiak used this a lot. I'd like to do a separate standalone video if I ever get time to do so. So 2 tight ends, Arroyo and Barner. And it's not surprising, right, that the initial read or where Darnold wants to go with the football up here where Kupp and JSN are. I mean, even though it's 3 receivers to the downside trips, you're not really fooling anybody when you put JSN and Kupp into the boundary. I do like the 0-2 personnel group. This doesn't surprise me that this didn't really fool anybody. Kupp actually kind of falls down, trying to scrape over the top of the inside linebacker, EJ Speed. And then as a result, Darnold's going to get out of here. There's Kupp that's on the ground. Really, JSN was bait here vertically. He occupied the corner and the safety. I'm just not sure what Al-Shaair is supposed to do here. In my opinion, this is a poor decision by Sam Darnold. That's the point of this video, right? It's a 3rd and long. It's not 3rd and 1 where you just need 1 yard to gain. It's 3rd and 11. And Sam Darnold's got to know who he is. We're here in this video at least to try to evaluate his play, talk about decision-making and throws. I get it that everyone nowadays is going to talk about Al-Shaair in a particular way, and I'm, not a Texans fan. I just don't know what he's supposed to do here when the quarterback ducks his head to come downhill. And I guess maybe at this point right here, he could not catapult him into the turf. Fine. But there's got to be this recognition or awareness that defensive players are allowed to still make contact with a runner who doesn't veer out of bounds like Sam Darnold had the opportunity to do. So that drive was kept alive by the penalty because, of course, Darnold's scramble would have been short. So we're still on that third possession, 1st and 10. This is, of course, the first touchdown to JSN, or the second touchdown of the game, to JSN. So Cooper Kupp is occupying Jalen Petre momentarily. I do wonder if Petre shouldn't have hedged in so far with this route. I actually covered this in a video that I did on JSN earlier this week. But Darnold's looking there almost immediately. And you see the separation that is afforded, or the space that's afforded. This is Petre. And we'll rewind this back a little bit. You're going to, lose him now. But you can see he went so far in with that route to Kupp that he's unable to play in this lane at all, such that it opened it up significantly for Sam Darnold to hit JSN, again, against Derek Stingley, puts them up 14-0. I already talked about the ref's form being too immaculate or too good on that play and throwing the penalty. This is the all-22 angle of the same play. Gave you the end zone so you could see, what Darnold was looking at. But here's the design element of it. So Kupp, again, is going to kind of snake through here, almost like this lube route in the middle of the field. After the motion by Kenneth Walker III really clears things out. Jalen Petre is the guy that I think kind of hedges a little too far. He is trying to pass that route off, meaning he's trying to push Kupp's route into the safety. So we see him here pointing, obviously communicating that Kupp's route is going to threaten this safety in the middle of the field. And you can see eyes from that safety on Kupp. Right now, I think Petre carries it too far, or maybe he doesn't trust the safety and he's visually confirming that it's going to be covered. In any case, I think it opens that route up by JSN, a little bit more than would have been available if Petre didn't squeeze in so far with Cooper Kupp. Game really could have been over at, in the first half. You're talking 20-0, 21-0, somewhere in that range. In any case, we're on to the fourth possession, 2nd and 21. only a 2-touchdown score at this point. It's going to be a 15-yard gain to JSN. He's going to sneak over the top of the linebacker level. I can't really draw this route perfectly. It's Horton going in motion across, makes it look like a wheel, and then turns it into an out. This is the route that's going to hold two second-level defenders, I should say, for the Texans, and it's Jalen Petre and then Al-Shaair. So we're talking about Kupp's route that's going to sit down between the right hash and the tops of the numbers. Essentially the hook to curl area. Al-Shaair and Petre are both occupied by that. And so JSN's route's going to pull him underneath of these two safeties here. Darnold is getting rid of this ball. I wonder if it's like 1/10 of a second, maybe even less than that, later than perhaps you'd want it to be, because JSN is waiting for the ball a little bit on that right hash. And really, this almost could have been a huge play by JSN. A shoestring tackle by the safety set up a 3rd and 6. I really do like Kubiak's willingness and focus on attacking down the field. This is the very next play. It's a 3rd and 6, and it's 0-2 personnel one more time. So 1 tight end to the right, 1 tight end to the left. And the route that Darnold is going to go after is this one up top. It's Horton, basically a climb concept from the right side to the left. So what I mean by climb concept is a route that emanates from one side of the field and then climbs vertically to the other third on the opposite side of the field. And most of the time, the only way you can get that done is if the boundary side receiver kind of holds or runs an intermediate/short route. In this case, Kupp's route probably goes a little bit past intermediate, but in any case, Darnold's trying to throw the football to Horton over the top of this safety and then outside of the field side safety here. I like that Kubiak wants to attack down the field, and I appreciate the fact that Darnold wants to. I think this is a pretty good throw. I don't think it's a bad throw. I don't think it's a great throw either, but you can see that it gives Horton at least an opportunity to go get the football, and it safeguards an interception. I mean, maybe this throw is 2 feet or 1 yard too far outside of Horton's range, so, expecting perfection, especially against a defense like the Texans, I think is almost too much to ask. In any case, they were forced to punt, and Seattle only led 14-0. I say only led 14-0 because I feel like their defense was absolutely dominant, and the offense had opportunities to extend the lead. 5th possession, it's a 3rd and 8, and it's another 0-2 personnel group. So 2 tight ends to the top side, 3 receivers to the bottom. Again, I covered this video or this play in a video about JSN. He's down here, and Derek Stingley has shadowed or followed him, if you will. The route concept, it might look kind of crazy. Let me move Cooper Kupp's route out of there. So basically, Horton is a clear out concept. I really can't draw it as deep to the depth that he takes it, but he's a clear out concept. JSN has a deeper out, and then Cooper Kupp, as the outside receiver, is going to bring his route into the middle of the field or towards the left hash, I should say, and then wind it back to the sideline. It really ends up giving Sam Darnold 2 options on the play. Basically, Cooper Kupp as the shallow out, and then JSN as the intermediate out. Really weird rush dynamic by the Texans. I don't know what this one is at all. Al-Shaair is folding over the top. Will Anderson and a D tackle are running into each other. It's just a very unusual rush schematic by them. But in any case, it's a great throw by Sam Darnold on a 3rd and 8. Again, JSN beating Derek Stingley, one of the best corners in the league. He certainly didn't have, his highest level performance on Monday night. Early in the 3rd quarter, so we moved on a little bit. Seattle's lead's been cut to 14-6. This is the 4th and 1. I love the design here. It's 21 personnel. You've got a fullback in the backfield. Tight end is going to go in motion, and he's going to initially act like he's going to block Danielle Hunter. We're talking about right here. So the pass protection that happens here is the tight end runs basically a hide concept. Some people call it slip, whatever. And he threatens Danielle Hunter. And then the fullback, as a secondary guy, is going to go and block Danielle Hunter. Not in this area. It's going to occur, just to the left of Sam Darnold. But it gives Darnold just enough space to get the ball to JSN. This time he didn't beat Derek Stingley. It's Kamari Lassiter. But here is the fullback making a diving attempt to hold off Danielle Hunter. Again, it's a 4th and 1, tight end in the flats. We know where Darnold goes with the football. Clean win for JSN. I mean, on a 4th and 1, you really can't beat this in terms of the space that he created. Darnold was 17 of 31 passing for the game, 8 of 14 to JSN, 9 of 15 to everyone else, 9 of 17 to everyone else, excuse me, but for only 90 yards to everyone else. So I think that's notable right now. I don't know what it looks like season long. I'll try to extrapolate that a little bit later in the week. Third quarter still, it's a 3rd and 7. You guys know what play that this is going to be. If you had it to do over again, you want to get the ball to JSN down here, kind of like a fade. I can't really draw the route up perfectly. Will Anderson strip sack that helps the Texans get to within 17 to 12. Charbonnet's got an opportunity to chip or hold Will Anderson a little bit, just doesn't take advantage of it. Again, if you had this play to do over again, this is where you want to go with the football. JSN is open, but Darnold's not looking in that direction. You never know what a quarterback is told to look for in his helmet by the offensive coordinator, by the play caller. In any case, he pump fakes. I think he's possibly trying to work the ball under here, but Jalen Petre clamps down on it just enough to where Darnold pump fakes, doesn't get rid of the ball. Will Anderson creates the sack that gets them within 17-12. They're a badass defense, man. It's I think they're a top 5 defense, and they're the number 1 scoring defense in the league coming into this game at least at 12.8. Same play from the end zone angle with the ball on the left hash. So Will Anderson, the rusher, off the left side for the Seahawks offense, right side for the Texans defense. Charbonnet is going to have an opportunity to help out Charles Cross here. And he's just unable to get a piece of Will Anderson at all. You can see the pump fake by Darnold. I think it's possibly to Barner. Again, it's a 3rd and 7, very similar to the first play I showed you guys in this film study video. And we know how it turns out. Touchdown that helps them get to within 5 points. Fortunately, Seahawks defense was able to come on the field and get a stop on the 2-point conversion. They're just physical. They're very fast, aggressive, and smart. It's a great group that they've got on down there in Texas on the defensive side of the ball. A couple of the turnovers that occurred in the fourth quarter. This is the 2nd and 14 with the ball on the left hash. And it's Arroyo from the top side, gonna basically a square in, intermediate square in. And it's a 4-man rush. Darnold has the ability to throw the football. You got 3 receivers down here. Pretty well covered, if you ask me, from the way this looks. Arroyo is got to sneak his route underneath of that safety. Darnold gets him the ball pretty much right on time, right on target. And then Lassiter and or the safety are able to get the strip. Really disappointing that Seattle was -3 in turnover margin on the night. Still was able to squeeze out a victory. Finally, the interception by Darnold that I think, reflects, positively on Derek Stingley's ability to recognize play concepts. The game's over, really, if you just don't turn the football over. But it almost starts to look like snag smash into the boundary. You got 3 to the boundary right here. And Darnold is going to step back, immediately look to the boundary. You got 3 defenders for the Texans here. And I think Stingley recognizes this. I think he recognizes that the tight end is going up the seam. I don't know if they run. I feel like I've seen snag smash where the tight end wouldn't run a seam. He would kind of run essentially an intermediate corner route. As it stands, Stingley identifies it. He's a great player. You really, you can't fool with him too much and not expect bad things to happen, in my opinion, at some point. To me, this is a bad decision by Darnold, but also the possibility exists that you've got a tendency here for the Seahawks in terms of what they run. I don't think it was Sam Darnold's, best game of the season. Quite obviously, statistically, it was 213 yards overall. He had the strip sack, threw the interception there. In my opinion, he's still playing at a very high level in 2025. This game in particular, this is one of the best defenses in the NFL, in my opinion. Darnold and the Seahawks able to get a win while still being -3 in turnover margin. I would absolutely love to see this matchup later on in the season because that would mean they would meet up in the Super Bowl. You're more than welcome to let me know what plays or concepts you think I omitted in this film study video. I'm really unable to produce more than 12 to 15 plays in a quarterback film study just because of the sheer amount of time that it takes to produce it. In any case, if you guys enjoyed the video, please let me know in the comment section. And if you think other Seahawks fans would enjoy this film study look as well at Sam Darnold, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.